What's up, everybody? I'm Caleb Ochoa, also known as NFL Caleb 22, and this is Super Bowl week, and neither of our teams are in it, so who gives a damn? But it's still an opportunity to win some money, the last opportunity of the season, to cash in, and we're gonna do that. We're gonna try to win you guys some money this week. It's the most bet game in all of sports. So we're gonna try to give you our main picks, a bunch of prop bets, and so we're gonna give you all the opportunities you guys need to have the edge in betting this game. But as always, I have my co-host with me to take you through here, and that's Derek Weatherly, also known as DWeezy. What's going on, man?
Man, here with, like you said, boatload of props because that is the reason why the Super Bowl has become the betting mecca event that it has, because it's not just people betting on a side. This ain't just people betting on a total. We got people betting on any and everything that you can imagine because there's a prop for it. If you can think it up, I promise there's a prop out there somewhere just waiting for you to find it. And some of these, you can find props as wild as, you know, will a field goal hit the uprights? And that's not even the craziest thing you can find. I mean, you know, for years, people have bet the color of the Gatorade dumped on the winning coach. Um, and there's people that put serious effort and time and energy into more or less a system in deciding that and try and research that. And so, yes, while some of these
I
markets
did that. I
sound,
did just that. I
see,
took my time and researched that.
see, folks. So, while some of these props and markets may sound just absolutely crazy, the books open themselves up, and as it's true with all markets, they're going to be sharper in some markets than others, so there may be angles and areas for people to take advantage just simply because of the quantity that's going to be out there and available for people to play.
All right. But before we get to our Super Bowl bets, we didn't have a show last week, so we could not recap the conference championship games, and we'll do that right now. And we're going to start with well, I'll go over my record overall. I went 0 2. Both games I picked wrong, which puts my record at 49, 48 in 3. So better have a good Super Bowls to keep my winning record. But the first game was the NFC Championship game, and that was San Francisco 49ers at the Philadelphia Eagles. Eagles were minus 2.5. Final score was 7-31. And there's not much to say about this game because it wasn't much of a game after Brock Purdy left the game with an elbow injury. Obviously, when I picked 49ers in this game, I mean, I don't, assume that Brock Purdy's going to get hurt. I think I'm assuming that he's going to play the whole game, but that type of thing can't really predict. Um, even though the game was still kind of close in the first half, Josh Johnson was just not going to bring them back. And even after he was knocked out, Purdy could just do is hand the ball off the rest of the game. And basically, the Eagles just had to control the game with their defense and the run game, similar to the previous week against the Giants. And the Eagles got two back-to-back easy blowout victories to make their way to the Super Bowl. But yeah, that's really all I can say about that game because there wasn't much to it. But any more thoughts on that game?
Not really. The Purdy injury definitely changed the outlook on this game the second it occurred, and it was pretty clear when it happened that it seemed to be on the serious side, at least from a game perspective. There's only so much you can determine on the sidelines without having actual medical scans and examinations in the proper settings. So, the fact that how quickly they went to the backup and the you could tell by the way the sidelines were reacting that Purdy was likely not to come back in this game. And of course, in this instance, when he was forced back out there, it wasn't because he could legitimately play. I mean, it's just that simple. The type of injury he occurred is more similar to a pitcher in baseball needing Tommy John surgery, more or less. The ligament, similar to ACL in the leg, is basically torn up. I don't know if it was torn completely, or I don't want to speak on that factor, but this wasn't a simple injury. This wasn't a sprain or a twisted something, a jammed joint. This was legitimately, this man couldn't throw the football, and because of necessity, he had to walk back out there on that field and take the snaps. Um, so that's definitely going to impact the game greatly. I think um, if he had stayed healthy, we'd have seen a lower scoring output by the Eagles, even though I felt they would have won. But it would have definitely been a closer game in general, regardless.
Yeah, it definitely unfortunate events that happened there and to end up with a stinker of a game, but that stuff happens. But for the better of the two games came in the Cincinnati Bengals at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs were -2.5 favorites. Final score was 20-23. And with an injured right ankle, Patrick Mahomes was still able to go out there, rely on his arm. He threw 43 times, completed 29 for 326 yards and 2 touchdowns. He led the Chiefs on the final drive to get them in position to kick the game-winning field goal with a little help from the Bengals linebacker getting that late hit on him. Definitely gave him an easier field goal attempt, and they won the game. The Bengals did what they usually do. They stopped the run, but they couldn't stop Valdez Scantling. He went off for 6 receptions, 116 yards, and 1 touchdown. Joe Burrow had two bad, costly interceptions, and one in the first half, one in the second half. They were not able to get a run game going, nor were they able to protect Joe Burrow. He got sacked 5 times in this game. And the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl, third time in the last 4 years. But it's pretty much all on Patrick Mahomes, even with that ankle. But what did you think about the AFC Championship game?
Um, I think the offensive line woes for the Cincinnati Bengals finally caught up with them. And they were definitely still able to compete, and the offense was definitely still getting points, a threat to get points. Um, so I don't think this was necessarily a matter of the offensive line playing horribly. It definitely didn't look good at times. But when you're that dangerous on offense, and for the most part, yeah, I think Cincinnati's had one of the more underrated defenses the past couple of years. Everybody wants to talk about the hype around the offense and Burrow and Chase and Higgins, and even with Boyd, who maybe had a bit of a, I don't want to say falling off year, but underperforming. But the defense in Cincinnati has definitely been one of the better defenses over the past couple of seasons. And so the fact that the Chiefs came in and basically have done what the Chiefs have done for the past number of years, they win in the postseason. If you don't play top notch football in every aspect, they've shown that, they have the right pieces where they're dangerous at all times. And we saw even with an injured Patrick Mahomes, there was one play specifically where he was probably the only play in the game where he was forced to roll out to his left, and you saw how drastically that affected him on that play. And so it's clear that, Patrick Mahomes was, not 100%, likely injured, and was still out there performing. And they were able to go out there and put up a performance that was, yes, did they get a little help, on that play? Unfortunately, it was just a
Yeah.
bad play. The guy's a step or two out of bounds. It's a clear. You have to call it. Were there other instances in this game where flags weren't thrown or should have been thrown? Yes, but you honestly can get into that argument with every game. Um, so in an instance like this, yes, it sucks to see a play like that impact the game in such a way. But when it's that blatant of it's that clear and blatant, you have to call it. You have to throw the flag. And the linebacker on the play, he knew it after the fact, after the game. So it's unfortunate to see the ending come out the way it was, but it was definitely a hard fought game on both sides by both teams. And I'm interested. I think that with the time off in between the championship week and Super Bowl, Mahomes may not be 100%. He may not be fully recovered from the injury, but he's definitely had roughly about 2 full weeks to recover, spend time off the foot, allow it to heal. And it's hard to say. I'm less concerned about Patrick Mahomes coming into the Super Bowl than I was about Patrick Mahomes coming into the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I definitely feel the same way about him. I think he's going to be a little more healthier than he was in the championship game. So I think that bodes well for the Chiefs. Um, but yeah, how did you do in the championship week on your bets?
Um, I was able to. I believe it was a handful of days prior to the championship games. I was able to get the Eagles and the Chiefs at plus 200 or well plus 250 apiece. And I decided to hedge that off with a money line parlay. And with the other side, basically, either I would have one team in the Super Bowl at plus 250, one team on each side at plus 250, or my money line parlay hit. And I believe that came out roughly at about plus 300. So either way, looking at a cool profit all the way around. So coming into the Super Bowl, I'm already starting with a half unit profit, which is a good day in my book. A lot of people like to whine about hedging.
Absolutely.
Me, I'm about making money. It's that simple. And so if I can position myself, and something I heard, I believe it was yesterday, uh, a high management member of the Circa Casino and Sportsbook. Um, the term he did hedging is very has a negative connotation. You're monetizing your position, and I believe as a sports bettor, that's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to find the best position and the best angle, and sometimes if you can put yourself in a spot where you're guaranteeing money, how's that a loss? You know, I'm going into the Super
Yeah.
Bowl up a half unit already. So even if I break even on the Super Bowl or any of these props, I'm still up a half unit. Or just, you're already starting with money in the bank.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, Before we get into our Super Bowl bets for the week, we'd like to help you guys out. You guys can help us out by clicking the like button, subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. Join our Patreon, and if you really want to help us out, and yes, select any tier that fits you, and the link is in the description down below. Yeah, so definitely do all that. That definitely help us out. But now we will get to our bets, and I'm going to start with my four bets and then I'm going to go into why I made those bets. But I'm going to start with the Kansas City Chiefs. I'm taking the Chiefs plus 1.5 on the point spread. Taking the Chiefs on the money line plus 105, and I'm taking the Eagles in the first half at minus 125 to be leading the game in the first half, and I'm taking the under 50 and a half on the total score. But yeah, so we got Kansas City Chiefs at first the Philadelphia Eagles, and my final score will be 23 27, just hitting that under on the 50.5 right there.
I was gonna say you talk about a
But now,
skinny
yeah,
sweat right there.
yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, I'm not letting my bias get in the way of my making money. Obviously, everybody knows I hate the goddamn Eagles. But I went back and forth on this game a lot. I didn't really know who I was going to go with. Um, but I thought it was going to be a close matchup, and I think the point spread suggests that it's going to be a close game. Definitely closer than it's a closer point spread than it was last year. Last year was a 3 point spread. Made it a little easier for me to pick go with the points on that one. Um, and with that said, I had to take the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I think they're gonna, yeah, like I said, they're gonna cover. They're gonna hit the under. The Eagles have shown to get off to hot starts in most of their games, and that's why I liked them in the first half, leading the game. But yeah, I'm predicting that Mahomes gonna do his magic, let Mahomes' magic take place in the second half, and that's gonna get the Chiefs to win. I like the Chiefs because I think they have more momentum going into this game. They just stopped a 10-game win streak of the Cincinnati Bengals. And on the other hand, the Eagles had a super easy regular season schedule, which got in position to get them a first round bye. And then they go and play the Giants with Daniel Jones and no good receivers. And then after the week after that, they go and play Brock Purdy, and they hurt him really quick, and basically the game's over after that. All they really have to do in both those games is stop the run and run the ball. So they really haven't been tested. They haven't been tested this whole time, and they have not seen a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes, nor an offense like the Kansas City Chiefs have. And those playoff games, Hurt hasn't been really asked to do much. He really hasn't done anything. He hasn't had any time to get a rhythm going. So I don't see how he can have any momentum going into the Super Bowl. He was 50 and 25 for 121 yards against the 49ers and only threw for 148 against the Giants. He will need to step up a whole lot if he's going to do anything against the Chiefs team to keep pace with Mahomes. And I don't think he's up to the task. Kansas City has had a much tougher road Super Bowl, beating Trevor Lawrence, beating Joe Burrow. They are the number one offensively, number one in scoring, number one in passing yards, number one in yards per play. I think they will be able to handle this Eagles run game because they are the number 9 in rushing defense in the league. The Chiefs 8-11 against the spread, not great, but 8-11. They've hit the under 11 times, so that's why I like the under in this game. The Eagles 10-9 against the spread, not great either. So I don't really see an edge on against the spread records. But they're 10-9 on the over and unders, hitting the under 9 times. The total has gone under in 4 of the last 5 Chiefs games. The Eagles are just 2-4 against the spread in the last 6 games. Kansas City is 7-0 straight up in the last 7 games and 6-0 against the spread against NFC opponents. Last time these teams played in the 2021 season, Chiefs won 42-30, and the Chiefs covered the 7-point spread in that game. Eagles may have a better overall roster, and I do think that is true. But I think Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes gives the Chiefs the edge, which will give them their third Super Bowl win. So, what do you think? What are your bets for? Give your bets first, and then go into why.
Okay, well, I do agree with you on the game total going under. Even looking outside just these two teams, Super Bowl history shows us that the under has a tendency to come in more. We see a lot tighter play, especially early in the games. And something else I'll be riding with is also the Philadelphia Eagles first half to win the first half money line. This is they've come out firing in most of their games this season, and I do think this team would have a larger point differential if some of these games were closer and they had a necessity to stay on the gas pedal as much in the second half as they were in the first half. Because to a certain degree, yes, dialing back your offense when you have a big lead. Um, Strategically, there is some play to it. You know, taking your time at the line, even if you're having success with your plays, you're still you're moving more methodically. You know, a tad slower. Burning more clock, things of that nature. But I definitely agree with those points. Because yes, you know, as you said, there's been a number of indicators between these teams that lead you to believe that the under could be a potentially way to go in this game. And as I've said, you know, past Super Bowls show us that you know the under comes in a lot. You would think even in today's day and age of you know more prolific passing offenses that these scores would generally be higher. And when it comes to the Super Bowl, you know the under just seems to be the way to go. And we have a number where at my book, 51 flat, I believe. And even at, you know,
Yeah.
50 and a half, I'd still be looking at that under because it's quite possible that if both these teams get to 20 points, it won't be by much. So that's definitely something I will be riding with. Um, I would be going with Patrick Mahomes under 20 and a half rushing yards in this game. Um,
Okay.
I do in a parlay have I believe I feel that Philly will win outright. I'll have to double check, but I believe I have them winning in a parlay. But a bit of a correlated move. Devontae Smith to score an anytime touchdown, and as well as Dallas Goddard to do the same. And another one I wanted to get into. Oh well, I did, and as I mentioned, you know, I'm coming into the Super Bowl, uh, basically plus half unit on both sides because I already was able to get both teams, you know, a couple weeks back while it was, you know, still not much of a profit, but when you can find angles on those futures markets, um it gives you a chance to set yourself up right, and that's what I was able to accomplish this go around with the Super Bowl. Um and you know, as I was you know, Mahomes not being 100%, and if you look at his numbers over the course of the season and the playoffs, the under on his rushing props has come in the majority of the time, and we are not looking at a large number over the course of the season. This is not a high number. Yes, he has the capability of running and moving with the ball, but it's something you really don't see. He has I don't know if it's something that they specifically practice or just whether it's a preference, but if he can complete that short pass or something and prevent that short yardage run that would accomplish the same, he's more likely to throw the ball. So, yes, you think of Patrick Mahomes being a mobile quarterback, especially when he's healthy, but he's not a quarterback that picks up actual rushing yards as far as moving the ball downfield. So, under 20 and a half rushing yards, I believe is a very live play in this game because even when he's been healthy, there's been a number of games that would come in under this number where he's only had 10, 15 rushing yards in those games. So the fact that he coming in a bit, you know, dinged up, you have a defensive line that I don't think Mahomes and the Chiefs have faced in a type of defensive line like this where not only do you have depth, but you have players that, for lack of a better term, are you know freaks of athletes. You know, Hassan Reddick, Fletcher Cox. You know, they picked up Ndamukong Suh midseason, who is coming in as a role player. Just you know, so I definitely think that there's the possibility that you see the defense of Philly get to Mahomes, and not to say that he gets injured, but putting pressure and hits on that, you know, leg and foot, he may think twice about running with the ball. So I think that, you know, plays back into the under with that rushing prop. Um, as well as I do think there's a possibility if you want to look at a couple TD markets for I'm looking at some of the I don't want to say side players, but not your main options. Because yes, you could easily go to a Travis Kelsey. You're not going to find much value on that prop. Is there a strong possibility that it comes in? Yes, of course. That's why they got it juiced the way they do it most places. I've seen north of minus 150 for the most part. And at that amount of juice, it's really not worth it, especially in a scenario where you might see Mahomes go down. Um, Something I do like because of the number of two tight end sets that the Chiefs like to run out of, the possibility of someone like Noah Gray picking up a touchdown, or on the flip side of it, for the Philadelphia Eagles, Quez Watkins, who both the Watkins is plus 700 anytime touchdown, Noah Gray's plus 800 anytime touchdown. Um, so I definitely think there is some value on both sides of the ball with these teams offensively to attack the anytime touchdown market, because I do believe, we may not see many touchdowns on both sides. And if you see one of these uh, longer odds come in that market, that could definitely flip your night when you're talking about, plus 500 or higher.
All right. Is that you got more props or
I got a few more props, but if you
we
want to
getting?
get into some of what you
Okay, we'll,
got,
we'll get into it. We'll get into it, man. I
okay.
just want to recap. Just your main bets of Kansas City or Eagles. What was it?
Um, the under on 51, and Mahomes under 21, 20 and a half rushing yards.
Okay.
And then who was it? Devontae Smith, anytime touchdown.
All right. Those are our main ones for this game. But now we will get into our some of the funner props. Um, I'll start with the obviously the most a little bit common one is the coin toss, and that's just a 50-50 bet. Um, but surprisingly, the tails never fails has been 52% of the time has won it 29 times. But obviously, you can't go by that because it literally is just a 50-50 bet. It has no the history of the coin toss has no bearing on what is going to happen because it is a coin toss, and that's how probabilities works. So just flip a coin and bet that basically,
Yes,
and
the
that'll do it for you.
quite possibly the OG prop that gave birth to all the prop markets that we see in existence now, the coin flip. Because before there were bet naps, before there was, everything that we got going on today, people were betting this in their backyards, in their, at the coffee shops, employee rooms, everywhere. Coin flip, heads or tails. You ain't got to know nothing about anything when it comes to football. You can bet heads or tails on the coin flip.
All right. And the next one I got is color of the Gatorade that you were talking about, the color of the Gatorade poured on the winning head coach. And yellow green is plus 130. That is no, actually I think orange was actually the favorite. I saw one of them at plus 3020. There's different books, but I've seen orange be the favorite and I've seen yellow green be the favorite. Um but you know what? I kind of like red at plus 400. I mean, Chiefs are red. They might have some red Gatorade. Um, but if you do go by history, the last time the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, orange was poured on Andy Reid's head. Um, so if you want to go by that, then go with the orange. But I know what do you have any thoughts of what color the Gatorade might be?
I mean, me personally, no, I don't have any thoughts specifically, though I do think there are probably a few interesting ways you could go about trying to look into this. Like, as you said, Chiefs have been in the Super Bowl before. It was orange the last time they won, so there's definitely a possibility of that, because there's a there's a number of different unknown factors in this that we can all pretend to know or have insight on, but don't nobody here know what flavor the players like or things of that nature. So while you're trying to figure out that, you're also faced with the confliction of trying to determine, will this be some sort of promotional thing where there's some media person standing there at the last second like, no, use this cooler, and it's the proper color, or you got red on one side, green on the other side. So there's a number of wild roads people can go down trying to figure this one out. You got a plus number either way. Pick one, live with it. But watch, I'm not even sure you watch the game for that one. You just wait for somebody to tell you it's over. Like, is it over yet? Okay,
Yeah, pretty
now I
much.
can look.
All right. And the next one that happens before the game is the national anthem. Uh, Last year it came in at 1 minute 52 seconds, but the odds are for it to go longer than that because the favorite is for it to go over um, at 2 minutes and 2 seconds. The over is minus 125, and the under is actually at minus 105. Um, yeah, I'm not sure why. I guess this country artist sings longer than the other people that have done it. I've seen it at least through the history of them tracking this, that it's mostly gone under what the odds suggest. So I'm gonna take the under and say it won't go longer than 2 minutes.
um, See, I agree with your logic, but almost, I don't want to say fear, but I almost wonder, all right, if this guy steps out on stage with anything like a guitar or something, oh, that over is, you're dead in the water if you're holding that under. I promise you that over is hitting. I know it sounds strange, but again, this is one of those things that has been tracked, monitored. Um, I mean, even down to, this isn't like a copy and paste year to year where you see the same number. No, these numbers are crafted based off the performers singing it, because every year, it's a big thing to be singing the national anthem for the Super Bowl. So you're talking about, everybody for the most part knows who's singing it, even if you don't follow the specific genre or something. So yeah, there's some serious time and effort put in by the books at knowing. So if that over is, if the over is favored and we're already talking about a higher number in typical, yes, I'd have to lean to the under. But like I said, if that man steps out there with a guitar, oh, you're dead in the water. Yeah, it's over. Hey, I don't even need one note saying it's over.
All right. And more musical, a halftime show. Will it go over 8.5 songs? It looks like the favorite is to go under 8.5 at minus 115. Um, I don't know. The Rihanna's doing the halftime show, as you all know. Um, kind of want to say the over. Kind of want to see the over. We don't know if there's going to be some guest person that comes out and maybe sings
Well,
along with
I
her.
would go ahead and
So
say there would be a few guests, even if it's not announced. That's how the Super Bowl halftime show operates. Uh, but yeah, so as far, I would, even if it's kept quiet, I would imagine there being at least two, maybe three guests.
yeah, so if there is going to be that, I like the over the 8.5 songs there. Um, yeah, for it to go over there. But do you have any thoughts of over under on that one?
I think the over is a possibility because there's always the potential chance that uh some sort of reference to new music or something like that, or because Rihanna has sort of stepped away from making music for a while now, and in a lot of ways this has been pitched as a resurgence by Rihanna. So of course you're going to get a number of the classics that we all know from the past. So I mean, I would imagine already you're starting off talking about at minimum probably 5 6 songs right there. If you have a guest, it's likely that you're going to get a mix of at least one or two other songs. So, I mean, one guess, then just off the gate, you're talking about having potentially seven songs already. So I definitely think the over with something like that is a possibility if you're talking about 8.5. So yeah, I did
All right.
8.5 songs. I'd go with the over.
All right. In the first song, the favorite is "Don't Stop the Music" at plus 100, and the next favorite is "Diamonds" at plus 600. The last song is the favorite is "Umbrella" at plus 250. Um, but I saw some links on Twitter. I don't know if they're real, and they kind of hinted at what songs was going to be played first and last, and they kind of said "Diamonds" was going to be the last song. Um, and maybe Umbrella was gonna be the first song. I don't know. I kind of like Umbrella as the last song and Diamonds at the first song. But if those leaks are true, it could be just the complete opposite. But do you have any thoughts of which song is gonna be played first or last?
I have no clue what song would be played first or last. I think this is one where I think if you put some healthy thought into it, it's kind of like handicapping a game. You sort of have to have a line of thought going into it. So, how might you order the songs, that are being played and so on? Would you do it like chronologically? What was the most popular song? You know, what song sold, more albums or so on. So, you might have a little bit of a system. But yeah, I mean, it's anybody's guess going into it. That's for sure.
All right. Now we got the nonsense out of the way. We can get some of the actual football. Um, let's see. Let's start with the first touchdown score, and I think is the favorite actually Travis Kelsey at plus 700, and Jalen Hurts number two at plus 800, and then Isaiah Pacheco in third. Who do you think is going to score that first touchdown?
I mean that's a hard one to say because I definitely think this is the type of game where, back to, you looking at Super Bowl past, it may not be that absurd to think that it's possible that these teams may not go, exit the first quarter tied, but we may not see a touchdown. You might see a lone field goal or, them trading field goals in
Yeah.
that first quarter. So when you get down to, if we were talking about a guaranteed touchdown in the first quarter early on in the game, I think maybe you could lean to some of the secondary players in these offenses because you, you know who your main threats are, especially early on in the game. And so I think there's potential behind, those slot receivers, your number two wide receiver, um, in a more traditional sense of offense, your tight end spot. Of course, with the Chiefs, tight end's the number one spot. So you start looking at, um, your three and four wide receiver guys, because there's a large potential that they may be seeing a number of snaps on the field. So I would definitely, look at some things. You could potentially look at who scored in, previous first quarters, first half for some of these teams because clearly neither of these teams are taking long to score in games. I would shy away from the running back position with the Chiefs. There's too much interchangeable frequency that occurs there between Pachenko and McKinney and uh, um, Edwards Alaire. He's been activated. So there's a chance you might see a number of faces in that backfield on the Chiefs side. Um, I think on the Eagles side, there's same lot. You might be able to target the running back position for the Eagles, possibly playing a couple different players at a bit of a larger plus number. like a Bart Scott or a Gainwell versus trying to take Miles Sanders at potentially a minus number. I think I saw minus 120 or somewhere in that range earlier when I was looking
Mhm.
at things. Um, so as far as that first touchdown goes, I think as I said, there might be some potential behind the non favorites or the not the shortest odds because yes, you might generally think that a Kelsey or an AJ Brown or a Miles Sanders would get that first touchdown, but that's potentially what everybody's thinking. So when you come out of the gate
Yeah.
firing, where you looking first? You're looking, where's Kelsey? Where's AJ Brown? Where's Miles Sanders? Those types of things, and I think it's later in games that they really start to work you and hurt you. And so first touchdown, I wouldn't be afraid of taking a long shot.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I think we got that right last time because I think we both said OBJ, and that's exactly what happened in the last Super Bowl. You can go back and watch that. But I'm pretty sure
Yeah,
that's
yes,
correct that
folks.
we did.
Y'all go back and fact check us from last year. That's what I want. You folks need to go back and fact check us. But yes,
But next,
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. Okay. Next we got the passing touchdowns of Mahomes and Hurts. Mahomes is at over and under 1.5, and the over is the favorite at minus 210. The under is plus 150. Hertz is again over under 1.5, and the favorite is the under at minus 120, and the over is at minus 110. I like the over for Mahomes. I just think okay, he's gonna have to rely on his arm to score touchdowns. He's gonna get that over. I think he'll get probably two, and Hertz will go under because we've seen it. Like I said, I don't think he's gonna have. I think he's gonna have a pretty mediocre game, just like he's been having in the past two games, and he's gonna go under, and he might not even have a touchdown to be honest. At least a passing touchdown in this game. So I
Hold
definitely
on.
like the under there.
You said Mahomes was minus what on over 1.5?
Minus 210.
Jesus. See, I was screaming at my book when I saw minus 170 something at 2.5. I'm like, I know it's 2.5, but move the damn number. Like, just move the number. Like, no way
Yeah,
in hell I'm playing that juice at minus 1.5. I'm not playing minus 170 at 2.5. Like, I definitely would. That's one thing where I wouldn't touch the under in that situation, even if it was 2.5 where I'm looking.
yeah.
But yeah, that's just one of those ones where it doesn't make sense at times. Like if you're gonna juice it that much to one side, just move the number. Just move the number. It's that simple.
All right. Next, we got the passing yards for Hurts and Mahomes. Mahomes is at over 292 and a half. The favorite is to go over at minus 110. The under is also, well, actually, they're both at 110, so it's pretty much even over and under. But like I said, he's going to have to pass the ball a lot. I'm going to take the over on Mahomes. And Hurts's over and under is 238 and a half, minus 110 on both the over and under. And I'll take the under on that one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I don't think the Chiefs are going to. I don't want to say that they won't have much of a running game, but more so they won't lean on their running game. You know, at the end of a game, 40, 50 yards can be deceiving as a rushing attack, depending on how it was picked up. Like, were you picking up 3, 4 yards in short yardage plays where it was, third and second, second and three, where you're converting the first down, having a positive play, but just not going for a chunk play. Um, so I definitely think something like that can factor in. But as you said, I don't think they'll be leaning on the running game and passing more. So I definitely think the over on Mahomes' passing yardage, the completion, or even if you want to look at attempts, Mahomes passing props in general. Especially if you think the Chiefs win this game, that you're gonna want to look at the over in these markets because that's where if the offense has success, Mahomes is likely going to be at the center of it. This isn't going to be a game where we're all standing in shock and amazement because uh, one of the running backs went off for 120, 150 rushing yards. I doubt that that's going to occur. Now, if we were talking about the Eagles in that scenario, yes, it might be a possibility. But the Chiefs aren't designed or built the same way as the Eagles, so I would definitely be leaning to the over in those markets if you feel the Chiefs will win this game outright.
All right, and we'll go a little rapid fire on these next few. Just give me either yes or no or over under. Okay. Uh, Defense and special teams touchdown. Yes or no.
No,
Safety. Yes or no.
no,
Okay. Total sacks. Over under 5.5 for both teams.
over. Oh, both teams together over 5.5.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
yes, over that. I actually feel that that's something that's
Yeah.
going to come
Okay.
into play.
Over. All right. Total interceptions. Over under for both teams. 1.5.
I think you got to take the over there.
All right. Um, let's see what else do I got. I think that's all I got for the rapid fire. We'll finally get to the main one. I think everybody's been waiting for it, and that is Super Bowl MVP odds. And I have the top five here, and obviously the favorite is Patrick Mahomes at plus 130. Jalen Hurts is number two at I think it's actually tied at plus 130. Travis Kelsey as plus 1,600. AJ Brown at plus 1,800. Miles Sanders, number five, at plus 2,500. Um, I'm going to take, because like I said, I think the Chiefs are going to win. The only way they're going to win if Patrick Mahomes has a good game. Um, I don't see Kelsey winning it because if Kelsey has a good game, that means Patrick Mahomes has a good game. So I think the only logical choice, if you think the Chiefs are going to win, that it has to be Patrick Mahomes going to win Super Bowl MVP. The Eagles, if you think the Eagles going to win, I think it's a little different. I think there can be, like I said, I think Jalen Hurts, even if the Eagles do win, I think he might have a mediocre game, yeah, and he can still have a mediocre game and then still win the game. So I do kind of like AJ Brown catching like two big passes, and that gives him the MVP. Uh, definitely Miles Sanders can be a value pick at plus 2,500, and getting that MVP in any one of the defensive of players on the Eagles side of things. Getting a bunch of sacks, that definitely is a possibility. So I do see value in picking one of them as as the MVP of the Super Bowl. If the Eagles are going to win, I don't think it's not as clear cut on the Eagles side of things as I do think it is on the Chiefs side of things. I think it's pretty clear cut if the Chiefs win. Patrick Mahomes will win MVP.
Yes, I definitely agree with you on this. One, the books are flat out telling us that they're leaning heavily to one of these two quarterbacks being the MVP when it's all said and done. But as you said, with the Chiefs, it's a more clear cut road to that MVP finale. If the Chiefs win, it's more than likely that Mahomes is at the center of that production. Um, Thus, why you see, even though Kelsey was what third on those odds, he's still at it's over 10 to 1.
Yeah,
You usually don't see a gap like that uh, with odds like these, or well markets like these with like an MVP, especially being this close to the event taking place. But yes, I do believe on the Philly side that there's definitely a chance to take a flyer on one of the more long shots, because there is the possibility of a AJ Brown having a maybe only having 4 or 5 receptions, but you put up 100, 120 yards, 2 touchdowns on those 4 or 5 receptions, it's going to really stand out. And it's possible for a quarterback to not have a good day and one of his wide receivers still go and put up numbers like that. So I definitely, through the running game in Philly and um, the more dynamic playmakers at the wide receivers positions, as well as on on the defense. Y'all heard me say it earlier. There's a
Yeah.
possibility somebody like a Hassan Reddick or a defensive player in this game could, it's uncommon, but it does happen. You go out there, you rack up a couple sacks, a strip fumble, or a couple turnovers. Um, it can definitely change that MVP voting, but I definitely would have to say that it's likely the MVP will be one of these two quarterbacks.
All right. Unless you got anything else, any other bets you want to tell the people. Um,
Um, a couple things. Well, I told you about it before the show. I was just going to do a quick little run through, put together a little 10 leg parlay for the Super Bowl because
okay.
why not? Everybody, y'all will hear me just rant against it. Parlays are not the way to go. It's not worth the time and effort. But, we ain't got any other games in football to bet on. So, yeah, you gonna bet on this one, but as y'all heard me mention earlier, under 51 on the game total. Um, Philly winning the first half, I do think those are very likely to come in.
I
Um,
agree.
Total touchdowns in this game, I took the under 5.5 because I do expect a bit of a more defensive game, and if they're putting the total at 50, yes, we'll see a couple touchdowns, but I do think the possibility, I'm already riding with that under. And so I do think we see maybe a few field goals on each side as these defenses bend a little bit, but don't break as we see the offenses move down the field. Um, let's see. I do think Hurts over 1.5 passing touchdowns. As we were saying, if we expect Philly having a good day offensively, it's Hertz is going to be that engine behind that, and so I think the possibility for him to put up more than one passing touchdown is a strong possibility. I mentioned Mahomes and under on his rushing prop. Travis Kelsey, I do think if Mahomes is banged up, he's going to lean on Kelsey. And yes, 7.5 is a high receptions total, but if you go back and look, this is a number that he's cleared many times through the regular season and potentially in the playoffs. And I would look at not just this past playoffs, but playoffs in previous seasons as well. Uh, but when you have that safety valve type of player, that's where you go to. And teams have shown that they're willing to give up that underneath stuff, and the Chiefs are happy to take it. And that with something like a receptions prop, you can definitely rack up a few easy, cheap receptions real fast. I also have going with Jared McKinnick under 3.5 receptions. Um, I think we saw the public more fall in love with some of his numbers as we got through postseason and some of the stretches we saw him go on late in the season. Travis Kelsey to score a touchdown. AJ Brown under 5.5 receptions, and Hassan Reddick to record a sack. And I do believe, I think that's all of them. But when you got this many legs, you just lose track. You don't even try and keep up with this during the game. You just wait till the game's over and then go, all right, check that one
Exactly.
off, check
That
that
I mean,
one off, check.
I do that every week on my on those type of parlays. I don't even look at. I put it somewhere else because I don't need. And we'll see if I won, and I'll be surprised
Oh,
afterwards.
I promise, people will know if I won. Okay, if I, what are the odds on this? Don't even say right here. The odds are good. Let's just put it that way. The odds are good if I hit this.
All right, that is all of our bets for Super Bowl 57. I hope you guys make some money with any of these bets we put out there. Really hoping, rooting for you guys. Obviously, we're going to try and make money ourselves. It's been great for any of you that have been watching along all through the season. We will be back during the summertime, giving you our futures bets as we did last year. Had a great time doing that, and it's been great doing this with you, DWeezy. I've had a great time this season, making some bets, making some money, and I can't wait to do it next season.
Facts. It's definitely been a blast. And as far as I know, do expect us back next season as we kick off, another season of the NFL. And also, folks, y'all will be able to find us after the Super Bowl as we got a simulcast going on with a few friends, and not only this channel, but a couple other channels. And, coming together. Hopefully, we'll be smiling and talking big and happy. Because if we're not, that means we lost.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Like he said, we will be doing the live stream of we'll do a pre-show, watch along, and an average show. Average show will be streamed on three different channels. So tune in to this channel for that. On Super Bowl Sunday, we will be here. We will be talking. Me and DeWeezy will be talking after the Super Bowl and to see whether we won on any of these bets or we were just full of crap. Um, but for now, you can tell the people where you can find where they can find you.
Yes, I'm Backyard Action Media here on YouTube. I've also been pushing basketball content through TikTok, on Twitter at the Yard Bets. Um, you know, doing a number of different sports throughout the season. Football's ending here, but I'll be moving more into the basketball season and then baseball as that starts to kick up. So, the grind never ends. One season ends, another begins.
All right. You can find me at NFL Caleb 22 on Instagram and Twitter. You can find me on this channel, continuing to do good friends, better rivals. We will be talking Cowboys, Giants all through that off season. Any NFL news that comes out, we will be talking about it on that show with my co-host Ferris McDonough. And yeah, you can find my articles that go along with this show on our website at letsgetreadynetwork.com. I will obviously that'll be an article. If you missed any of the bets that we always said here, they will be in that article in more analysis on the game. So go check that out. And yeah, like I said, like, subscribe. Thank you all for watching. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate any of you that tuned in this season of betting the NFL. I had a lot of fun. And like I always say, every single week, and it's not going to change this week, let's get ready to make that money.